My girlfriend unexpectedly tried to invite her girlfriend into our bedroom to spice things up, but this upset me, and I think I want to leave. My girlfriend is bi and primarily dated women before we met. We've been together for over 2 years, and things are getting serious. We're talking about marriage. However, recently, she has been making a lot of polygamous jokes, and I'm not really into it. She has this friend who I get the feeling is just waiting for a hiccup in our relationship to make a move. This friend is also bi and openly makes jokes about being intimate with my girlfriend. I've expressed that I don't like it before, but my girlfriend jokes that I must be gay for not being into it. Maybe I could be open to an experience, but honestly, this person just makes me uncomfortable too often. Besides that, she's just not my type intimately. We had a long conversation around COVID when this person wanted to be referred to as he/him, so I did. 2 years later, they wanted to be referred to as they/them, so I did. Recently, she has circled back to she/her, which is fine. But the whole time, she dresses like a Kyle. For those unfamiliar, a Kyle is the kind of guy who wears Fox apparel and washes down vape hits with a Monster Energy drink. She could be attractive, but it's like her idea of masculinity was shaped by high school douchebags, not 30-year-old men. Anyway, on Saturday, we got into a fight because we had some friends over. Kyle was the last one to leave, and we had all been drinking. I was in the kitchen putting away some food when I saw this asshole put their hand on my girlfriend's butt. I immediately let my girlfriend know, "That's the line. You crossed it. Stop." My girlfriend gave her classic "that's just how girls joke" response. They then did this silly little twirl dance thing that ended with my girlfriend on Kyle's lap. At that point, I'd had enough and stepped into the room. My girlfriend doubled down, saying that most guys would be dying to fool around with 2 women. I was blunt and said that I was uninterested in sharing her with anyone. Kyle then said something like, "Maybe I could strap one on, maybe you'd prefer a man." I was drunk, this asshole had their hand on my girlfriend's waist, and my girlfriend was on their lap. I lost it. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, "If you were a man, you would have been kicked out or knocked out already." This struck some kind of nerve with Kyle. She postured up like a gorilla, and it turned into a 3-way shouting match. I don't remember everything that was said, but it ended with Kyle loudly proclaiming that she had to leave before someone got hurt. Here's the problem, my girlfriend somehow thinks that I need to apologize. Me. For threatening a person who came into my home, grabbed my girlfriend's ass, sat her down on their lap, and insinuated that I'd like to be done by a man. She says I needlessly introduced violence and forced Kyle to drive home intoxicated. I honestly can't fathom an apology, and I don't care to have Kyle in our lives anymore. I'm not typically the type to die on a hill, but I feel like anything short of standing my ground is unacceptable. I told my girlfriend I'd think about it, and she's been staying at her cousin's house for a few days. If it were just a one-night thing, I'd get it, but it's been several days now. Saturday was just the tipping point. Honestly, she acts like this is something she can get out of her system. I think she wants to be in a polyamorous relationship. A lot of her friends are doing the poly thing, but that's just not for me. I want one partnership with one person. All of her poly friends are in relationships, but they come and go, there's nothing concrete there. She claims to want kids and commitment, but her actions say otherwise. Edit. She claims she's coming by to pick up some things for work. I feel like a conversation is unavoidable. I've taken the most competent suggestions from here and applied the relevant context to the talking points I want to address. I may update tomorrow or whenever I feel better. I don't know if making this post was a good or bad idea. I won't reply until I feel like it. I have a big band-aid to rip off. Update 1. I'm just going to go over the bullet points of the conversation because I'm over it. She arrived yesterday with a peace offering from our favorite ice cream shop and wanted to set things aside so we could settle down and catch up on the new episode of House of the Dragon. I told her that I was uncomfortable just eating ice cream and watching TV with the elephant in the room. I think she could sense that I was in a different mood than she expected. The talking points were as follows. I mentioned that I felt no need to apologize and pointed out that Kyle had never apologized for disrespecting me in my home on other occasions. I also said that the average person would display hostility towards someone who acted the way Kyle acted. Her response was that she felt it was a first-time offense and that she had no idea I felt so strongly about the jokes in the past. I cut her off and told her that if that's how she felt, she hadn't been listening to me. She then stated that I introduced violence, and that's what I should be apologizing for. I stood my ground and said that any person who touches another person's spouse in front of them, without their consent, should understand that they're going to provoke a reaction. Given that I actually have boxing experience, I showed restraint. She then made this weird argument that because I have boxing experience, I should somehow be more careful about provoking violent situations since I know a fight between Kyle and me would be a mismatch. I easily countered that with the fact that I didn't provoke the situation, Kyle did. The fact that my girlfriend didn't see that was a problem. She mentioned that it was reckless for me to kick out an intoxicated guest. I easily retorted with Uber exists. There's no reason to drunk drive in 2024. If she got into a DUI, it's because she was too cheap or too stupid to pay the $15 for a ride. I even looked it up yesterday. Her stupidity is not my responsibility. I asked my girlfriend if she had ever slept with Kyle. She said no. Maybe I'm biased, but I believe her. I told her that it makes me extremely uncomfortable that she keeps pressuring me into having fun with someone I'm not attracted to. This is compounded by the fact that I've had to jump through hoops over the years to make sure Kyle was comfortable with her intimately. This was the curveball I didn't expect. She claimed that Kyle actually likes me for that reason. That Kyle shows her affection like a schoolyard idiot. That Kyle feels comfortable with both of us, and since my girlfriend feels comfortable with Kyle, their intention was to gauge my comfort level before proceeding. Obviously, I brought up the fact that I'm not attracted to Kyle in any way and that Kyle hadn't exactly helped her case by treating me the way she did that night, or on previous nights. My girlfriend reiterated that she had no idea my feelings on this were as strong as they are because I supposedly didn't emphasize them enough. Essentially, she thought I had just shrugged it off in good humor. I stated that I'd like to start talking about what a breakup would look like. She was completely caught off guard by this. Immediate waterworks. Immediately incoherent and apologetic. I brought up that I'm unsure if she actually believes in our shared goals of marriage, parenthood, and monogamy. She was hysterical but essentially couldn't believe that I would come to that conclusion based on one night. I reminded her that this wasn't about one night, it was a pattern of behavior. She then backpedaled and said that her polygamous behavior was something she wanted to explore with me before we got married. She genuinely believed that she was presenting it in a way that would be appealing to me. I think she assumes I have corn brain or something. I reminded her that I had already expressed a lack of interest in this, and in my opinion, this wasn't the first time she had pitched fooling around with Kyle. She circled back to insisting that those other times were just jokes. I told her that if she truly believed that, then either she wasn't listening to me or she wasn't taking me seriously. I brought up that it wasn't okay that they called me gay just because I didn't want to engage with their ideas. I pointed out the hypocrisy of her friend group being so inclusive while making fun of my orientation just because I didn't want to participate in their games. She was hyper-apologetic and said she hadn't realized it was a problem until I framed it as if the shoe were on the other foot. This would never be acceptable. What do you all think? Stay or nay? Update 2. I broke up with my girlfriend, and now she won't move out until the school year starts. Do any of you have experience evicting an ex? It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I did it. I broke up with my girlfriend after she tried to throuple me with her friend. Initially, she was happy to move into her cousin's house, but now there's drama because the story she tells her friends and family conveniently leaves out key details. Some of them reached out to me angrily, but after I set the record straight, they gave her an earful instead. Now she's mad at me for disclosing sensitive information. I'm guessing her cousin isn't allowing her back because she doesn't agree with her decisions, but I don't know for sure since we're not in contact. I only know what my ex says, and she's unreliable. She's been hot and cold, either bitter and giving me the cold shoulder or bringing up reconciliation and coming on to me. I've made a point to resist her advances, but she's been trying to guilt-trip me. A few months ago, she decided to go after her master's degree. She was supposed to start soon, but now that I've compromised her living situation, she's upset that rent everywhere else is double what she was contributing here. I told her that's no longer my problem. Then, last night, when I told her I needed her completely moved out by the 15th, she suddenly brought up a subscription service that delivers here. Now she's claiming she has a right to stay. Does anyone have experience evicting an ex? Update 3. I got out of a nasty breakup a little under a year ago. I avoided dating apps but ended up meeting this woman through mutual friends. She ticks all the boxes, she seems very kind, she's financially and emotionally stable, she's funny, we have great chemistry, and the physical relationship is amazing. But about 15% of her income comes from a small OnlyFans account. Supposedly, her content is just photos of herself, solo work. That was fine at first, but now she's talking about becoming exclusive. I'm only realistically talking to one other person, and that relationship hasn't become physical yet. The problem is, I'm ready for marriage and kids. I want to settle down. And in my opinion, a woman with an account isn't looking to settle down. She disagrees. We got into a big argument because what she heard was, "You are not wife material." That's not entirely true, she is wife material, just not with the account. She already has a good job, and her OnlyFans is small enough that losing it wouldn't impact her finances much, especially if we moved in together within the next 2 years. I made my boundary clear, but she keeps calling and texting, insisting that I'm the only guy she's seeing. I know Of isn't wrong, but it is low-level work. Plus, she makes less than a part-time job at McDonald's. I don't think it's unreasonable to be uncomfortable with strangers looking at explicit photos of the person I want to pursue a serious relationship with. Can marriage work for us considering her line of work?